This is Eric Mwathe. What I'm going to be doing today is adding one more video to my YouTube educational video series called Mwathe's First RSI Mountain. And so this is going to be part 4 of this series. The reason why I'm making this video is because I want to show you a very simple trick in owning the best stocks in the market. And so this is what we're going to be looking at, a template for when to decide or when to know that a stock could actually be setting up for a very massive move. Now, the reason why we are going to be taking a look at this is we are going to spend some time by looking at the top performing stocks in the current market, being middle of August 2014, and the list of the top performing 100 stocks can be found if you go to barchart.com, and if you scroll down to the left, you'll see that they have their own algorithm on how they come up with the 100 top performing stocks. So click on that. It should bring you a list, and you can go through the list. On the list here that I want to show you that these are stocks that have done very well in the current market, again being middle of August 2014. If you take a look here, some of these stocks have gone on to gain. Let's see whether we can, give me a second here, see whether we can make this more legible. All right, so you can see here that some of the stocks have actually gone on to gain. One of them has gained about 2,700. Those are big moves. I'm not saying you're going to get that, but if you want to be somewhere in the neighborhood of owning this type of explosive stocks, then I'll show you one very simple trick that you can use. You can see here, these are the gains for the stock over the last year, and I'm talking about this column here. So I'm using this list to make this video, so we know for sure that these are the leadership stocks in the market, bar none. And so whatever technical aspect that they are displaying or were displaying months ago is the type of thing you should be looking for right now. And again, just to scroll down so we can save this on the video, this is a list of stocks. You can pause it to see which list of stocks made the top 100 middle of August 2014. So that's the stock list right there. Now let's take a look at the technical aspect that we are talking about here. I call it the first RSI mountain on the monthly chart, because once the stock moves above 69.10 here, it becomes a buy, and as long as it's holding above that level, it should be a buy. And this is exactly when you see the explosive move in any stock on the monthly chart. This is when it becomes so powerful, gains such awesome momentum, that it is exactly when you should own a stock or any instrument breaking out. Also, it is important to note that should the stock drop below 69.10 and immediately recapture it, then the new move above 69.10 also becomes a fresh buy signal. So without further ado, let's go to the list of stocks. We're going to go through them. Could be a little bit lengthy. Remember, we are taking a look at a cross section of 100 stocks, but they're going to be repeating the same theme, so I might not have to go one by one. So on my list here, on the charts here, you're going to observe that they are just arranged in alphabetical order, and so there's no, that's how but you can see even from this very first one here, from the moment the stock jumped, the very first one on the alphabetical order, make sure I have it, is once the stock jumped above 69.10 here, which was at a price of about 20, it would go on to hit 38 in a couple of months. And it stayed above that level pretty much. And you can see here it dipped below it for a month, but immediately recaptured the stock back above 69.10, and hence it moved from $30 all the way to 38. So let's just go through this list. It's a long list, and I just want to show you that this is across the board how you want to find leadership stocks. Again, here we see that even in earlier time that the stock had a nice run here when it stayed above 69.10, and I'm sure if I go back and check, you can see that the stock had a nice run even prior to the $8 area here, and so the stock went on to touch as high as $16. So that is 2012. But let's take a look at recent market action. jumps back above 69.10 like we talked about, which is this entry point here at about $16, jump goes on to 36. Again, it recaptures the level above 69.10, another buy signal, another breakout here above the previous monthly closing high. So that's your fresh entry price. And as you can see, as of right now, the RSI continues holding above 69.10 here. So that's momentum. That's how you know that this is the type of stocks that should do well in your portfolio. So let's skip here. We're just going again. Here's another one that recently had a spell above 69.10 here. Price of about $6.5–7 would go on to trade as high as $12 in about 2 months. Here's another one here that jumped above 69.10 here, which was this price range. Let's call it $5, maybe even $4, and it stayed above 69.10 and has stayed above 69.10 on the monthly going back since September of 2013. Good to take the stock from about $4 or $5 all the way to $19. Previously actually had gone from $4 to $5 to about $18–17 within 1 and 2 months. That's how you know that the move above 69.10 on the monthly is powerful. Here's another example here, and so you can see here we're just trying to keep the video at a manageable length without going into too much detail on every stock, but you can see the breakout above the previous monthly closing high was there. Stock moved above 69.10 here. It's taken the stock from 45 all the way to 70s, and it continues. Remember, maybe this run is not over. Stock could go on to see higher prices, and I need to note here that your entry price recently was this breakout above the previous monthly closing high here of about 69 and change. So once it breaks out above the previous monthly closing high, your buy point becomes this entry, and you know that it's a powerful stock because it continues to hold above 69.10. So you know the stock is powerful. It's not your opinion, it's just a matter of technical fact. There's another one here that held above 69.10. Time frame above 69.10 was here, which is at $8, somewhere around there, $8–7. Stock would go on to trade as high as $26–27 in about 4 months. Why? Because the RSI was above 69.10 on the monthly. So this is exactly when you should own stocks. Do not think of stocks as being oversold. No, they are actually now primed to move, and that's what we should be the takeaway. So go on this list and you'll see that that's just across the board. Again, here's another one jumping above 69.10. You can see there about $10 goes on to do well. So we go on here. Now I can go through this list one by one, but it really makes no difference because it's a long list. Can't go through all of them one by one, but here's another one that jumped above 69.10 in September of 2013. Here, price of about $15. Stock continues to hold above 69.10. This is the magic number here, and you can see that has been good enough to move the stock from about $15, $14 all the way to the current price of $77. Why? Because the monthly RSI has refused to go below 69.10. Again, that is what you look for powerful stocks. Another example there, moved above 69.10 most recently in November of 2013. Here, November of 2013, when it broke out above the previous monthly closing high, which is where you use as an entry price. So the entry price was there. Stock remained above 69.10 pretty much since then, and even this little blip here was not enough to stop it. It went back above 69.10, which was another entry price during another breakout above a previous monthly closing high. So there's another entry price. So you can either use this entry price here for about lower 30s, or this move here at about $40. Either way, the stock is trading at 67, and maybe there's much more in the tank. And here's a fresh one This one was one of our picks earlier this year, and it continues doing well. You can see it moved above 69.10 at about $14, continues to do well. So if you want to own the best stocks in the marketplace, this is what you should look for. CSIQ, a solar stock, was one of our picks in 2013 when it broke out here. So we timed this perfectly because we used the principle above 69.10 here, which moved the stock from about 15 all the way to $44, $43, $42 in about a couple of months. So that's how you do it. Here's another one that's on the top 100 list, just beginning to move above 69.10. Here's another one here. All this just have the same look and feel. So I'm just going to rush through them. You can always pause the video if you want to take a look at the stocks themselves. In fact, let me change the format of how I'm doing this and go one by one, so you can pause the video if you want to study the stocks here. So I'm just going to go one by one here, click through all of them. Here's another one that IPO'd recently at about $15, now trading at $125. The RSI begins trading in the 90s. That's amazing. I've never seen that kind of a move here. And so here we are. So let's just go through this list of 100. Here's another one that moved above 69.10 in the lower 20s, now trading in the 30s. So the first RSI mountain. Here's another one that still continues to recapture 69.10. So in that particular instant, let me go back here. Your buy point on this one could be at $15, because that would be a fresh breakout above a recent monthly closing high after 1 month of rest. So the buy point is set an alert for this one above $15 in the future when it happens. That's your buy signal. Why? Because the reasoning is the RSI continues to defend 69.10, which is a sign of strength. Already the stock has moved, frankly, from about $7 here when it moved here above 69.10, or $8 if you want to look at it that way, but still has almost come close to doubling since then. Here's another one, perfect example of this reasoning here, that you want to buy a stock when it moves above 69.10. That's a perfect example. You can see that that mountain continues being registered on the RSI. Very powerful strategy. So once it does this, you know that the upside could turn into an unbelievable move. So why sell something that is powerful? You want to own the best, demand the best, and do you know that the stock is the best when the RSI breaks out to above 69.10? Price also moves above to new highs. And so here in this particular instance, $12, RSI has remained above 69.10 throughout this period here, and that's why the stock has jumped from $12 all the way to 42.5 or 47. So pretty much the strategy is very aggressive in getting you in the right direction here. Entry price moving above the previous monthly closing high moves the stock from $15 all the way to 45 in about 6-7 months. This is probably one of the most powerful strategies you can find in the market. Anybody can use it for any instrument. This is not something exclusive to anybody. And the reason for making this video is to share. So you can see here again, moved above 69.10, October 2013, price of about $1.50. Stock went to trade as high as $4.30, $4.20, which is really 4 times your money, 3 times your money in a short period of time. Again, another example. So let's go through this video. Here's another example, show you how stocks can remain strong. Moved above 69.10, beginning of 2012, price of about just under $1, between $1 and $2, and has remained above that, pretty much remained above 69.10 throughout this time period here, with a little blip. So a little blip back above 69.10 here, which is another buy signal there, back above 69.10 with another buy signal there. All of them were breakouts, breakout here, breakout here. At any event, you can see that that was good enough to take the stock, depending on your entry price, either from $1 to 13, or from $3 to 13, or from $4 to 13 and change. So more this fast RSI mountain. Here's another one that's just beginning to move above 69.10, even though it has had a nice run from 10 to 100, but continues to hold above 69.10. So of course, if you want to play it, ideally you want it to break out above this monthly closing high of about 107. That will be your next ideal breakout level, because the RSI will be holding above 69.10. Here's another example. Moved above 69.10 here in October, so let's call it $25. Would go on to trade as high as 65. So of course, in this particular case, the next buy point is when the stock holds and breaks out above 65, somewhere there, which is the previous monthly closing high. The RSI continues holding above 69.10, which is exactly as we know now from these examples of looking at the top performing stocks in the market. And you can go and look at any time period in the future, if you're watching this down the road, years down the road, or go back and back test the best performing stocks of years past. They all have the same look and feel. And you can see here, this move here above $2, RSI has held and stays above 69.10. So from $2 here all the way to $19. So that's what it takes if you want to own the best. Here's another one that's just beginning to move. So we go through the list here. Another one that's just beginning to move. Another one that had a nice run during this time period here, from about breaking out from about 14 there, and back all the way from 14, trading in the $34, $35 area, because the RSI held above 69.10 in that time frame. On the monthly, remember these are monthly charts. Here's another example, very powerful moving stock here. We just move on, and this was a previous pick, HZPN for subscribers. Let's move on here. It's one that hasn't yet moved above 69.10, so we'll skip that, but there are things on that previous chart that still we look for on other settings. But here above 69.10, breaking out above the previous monthly closing highs. That's your entry price, just under $2. Stock continues to hold above 69.10 on the monthly, and bam, all the way to $6. What is that? Like 3 times your money in about 6-7 months. So here's another one, and this is actually should not be on this list, but it's one that we are watching for subscribers. If it breaks out above this $93 area, it's breaking out to 3-year highs, which is another minimum requirement. So just go check out the Ultimate Mwade Breakout videos, Ultimate Mwade Breakout, and they'll show you why this is a powerful looking chart. But this series of video looks at the RSI mountain, so we'll continue here. Here's another one, RSI mountain at about $27, $25, $26, and all the way still above 69.10, trading in the 50s. Whoops, let's take a look here. Maybe that's all right. Here's another one here, breaking out again. You can see, why am I saying breaking out again? It's breaking out while the RSI continues holding above 69.10. And maybe I should stress that any breakout when the RSI is holding above 69.10 on the monthly is a very powerful breakout, very powerful, and we have to be looking to own those types of situations, because that is where momentum is really expressed in. Here is one that lots of people are trading this because of momentum. It broke out here, and you know that that was a good breakout because it also pushed the RSI above 69.10 here, price range of about under $8, so from 8 all the way to 22 in about 1, 2, 3, 4 months. Why? Because that's when the RSI held and stayed above 69.10. Recently, we've been playing this. Why? Because the RSI has moved back above 69.10 and it's broken out above this level here. Actually, if I was to be honest here, we went back into this stock somewhere here, and based on other reasoning, we went back into the stock here because we saw that the RSI was holding here, and that's another different strategy. But this strategy here, we're just showing you that the fast RSI mountain for any stock tends to be very bullish. Take a look at this fast RSI mountain on another 100 top performing stocks. $5 entry price there. Stock goes on to trade in the 50s, and all this because you knew that if it held above 69.10 there, that the stock was going to be absolutely a monster move. So that's why we keep making these educational videos just to reinforce again another different stock here, LNG, breaking out here at $20. Your perfect entry price was breaking out above the previous monthly closing high here. So draw a straight line. Once it broke out here, coincides with the move above 69.10 here. Good enough to take the stock from about, let's call it just under 20 or $20 all the way to 75. The RSI continues holding above 69.10. That is a sign of strength. So even if you had used the next breakout level here after a couple of months of rest, this was a very successful buy point here, just under $30. Why? Because the stock continued to hold above 69.10. There was another entry price here after 1 month of rest, so one down month, and so you enter the breakout above the previous monthly closing high. You have another entry price there. That was good for a very good strong move because the stock was making RSI highs on the monthly, trading above 69.10. Even that has been successful because the stock has moved from $40 all the way and still moving, breaking out again. Even right now, if you want to be aggressive, you can buy this recent breakout here after 1 month of rest. I know it looks extended, but remember, as long as it's holding above 69.10, you can play the momentum because that's what moves stocks. See what we have here, and here's one that's breaking out above 69.10 here this month. So these are the type of things you're looking for. Entry price would have been above this previous monthly closing high, so you can see recapturing above 69.10 is exactly when you want to own it. And so let's move on here. Top performing stocks back above 69.10, price breakout here because it was moving above the previous monthly closing high. So that was your entry price, about $14. Stock trades at $30 because the RSI mountain. Take a look at this perfect RSI mountain. I mean, this is just perfect. Sign of momentum, sign of strength, sign of just leadership. So let's move on here. You can see again another one there. Here's one that IPO has yet to have monthly RSI action. Here's another one that had a nice run. So take a look at that one. Move on here. Another one here, Micron, MU. This is another previous Moade.com subscriber pick because it was breaking out here. And of course, we had recognized that. Actually, I believe either that was the breakout. We either highlighted this for subscribers here or we highlighted it here. I don't remember precisely. It's one of the two. Why? Because I could see that they were moving above 69.10 here, and also here we stayed above 69.10. All to say the stock has gone from the recent breakout from 14 to as high as $35, $34. So more than double your money in a good market as of the middle of 2014, August. So we take a look at another one here. Take a look at this RSI mountain above 69.10. Good to take the stock from, what's the price of here, $15 all the way to $50. So very nice move because the RSI holds above 69.10. That is the type of mountain I'm talking about when we talk about this. So this mountain is what we are looking for, because this is a sign of a stock saying you need to own me. You need to own me. This is where I'm strong. This is where you want to own me because I can do well for you. And take a look at this example here. This is why you should never be scared to own stocks. It stopped here, made a monthly closing high, settled down for a couple of months. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months of settling below this closing high here, and then on the 5th month it broke out. And so that's your entry price there. You set an alert at this previous monthly closing high, and you know the breakout is going to be powerful. Why? Because the RSI is also breaking out, and the RSI on the monthly is above 69.10. All right, so here we go again, another example here, IPO. So we don't have a monthly RSI on that one. This one hasn't yet gone above 69.10, but using other methods was a breakout. Take a look at this one here. Moved above 69.10 here. Price of about $20, just under 20, beginning of 2013. continues to hold above 69.10 here with the RSI at 87. Stock is now trading above $100. It's awesome. I love it. Here's one that is doing well. A previous pick, we are using this one. We entered here somewhere around here at 18. We are not scared to own momentum stocks because we see that the RSI is moving above 3-year highs, and so that's one of the things we look for, so that we're not scared to own stocks, because we see that a good stock can continue moving for months, if not years. Here's another one with an RSI mountain. That's why it's one of the top performing stocks in the market. Here's one that's just beginning to move with an RSI mountain. And here's one that had a nice run. Plug, everybody talked about this. It moved above 69.10 on the monthly here, price of about $4. Stayed above 69.10 here, good enough to see the stock move and trade above $11. So that's more than double your money. All right, actually it's almost a 200% gain because the RSI stayed above 69.10. Here's another one here that has not have enough data to generate a monthly RSI. So we're just going through this list. Here's another one here, top performing stocks because of that RSI mountain, and again we recapture back above 69.10 here, showing that the stock wants to continue moving higher. And so this breakout here was very welcome if you are watching this, because it was back above 69.10 there, and you know that the stock is going to do well, because previously when it held above 69.10 here was enough to move it from about $14 all the way to $22, $23, $21. So you know that any other breakout back above 69.10 could be very successful. Since then, the stock is coming very close to doubling as we continue moving here in the coming months. Let's take a look at another one here, RSI mountain. Nice move from about $45 breakout back. So after this monthly closing high, the breakout there is a fresh breakout back above 69.10 here. That's exactly when you want to own the stock. The stock is since then doubled and continues to climb. It's another example of a RSI mountain. Take a look at the gain from about $6 breakout. RSI continues doing well. That's a supercharged stock for you. Take a look at this RSI mountain for another one of the top performing stocks. $20 all the way to $70 because the RSI mountain continues holding above 69.10. Here's another one here that could eventually move above 69.10. So what you do in this type of situation, you put an alert here for about $11, which is something I've already done. If the stock breaks out above that, then it is going to do well. Now I have to also be very open here and say that this is a previous pick. We were thinking that the stock was going to hold above 69.10 when it broke out here. I did highlight this for subscribers. Since then it has failed. So here's a good example of what happens when a stock fails to hold above 69.10. So in this particular situation, you get stopped out, but you don't give up on the stock, because remember, in the future, if it breaks out above $11, if it does something like that, then this is going to be your next entry price at $11. So even though it has failed for us right now, and we're taking the loss, and we've taken the loss, or we should take the loss, whichever way, depending on how each individual is reacting to the move back below 69.10. The point here is that we don't give up on the stock entirely. We set an alert for down the road, months down the road, weeks down the road, who knows. If the stock ever moves above $11, which is the area where the previous monthly closing high is, then we can buy the stock again, because the RSI more than likely is going to be back above 69.10. So here's a perfect example. I need to stress this, that we thought the stock was going to hold above 69.10 here. It failed. It moved subsequently below 69.10, and hence it lost its momentum, and that's why it could be a reason, and is a reason, to get out of the stock. So not all of them are going to work. What I'm trying to stress here is that when it works is when you should own the stock. When it doesn't work, you have to expect the stock to be on pullback mode. Hope that makes sense. Here's another one here with an RSI mountain. So back to successful ways. 110 was the entry price above 69. Stock's trading at about 250, 260. Here's another one with an RSI mountain. So this list of 100 is, here's another one. Next. 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 Again. So I just want to go through this list so we can have all of them, because for future reference somebody can do some research on these types of stocks. Take a look at this one. Has remained above 69.10 all the way back from 2011. Good to take the stock from about $20 plus all the way to 150. Why? Because this is what you watch for. So every subsequent breakout has been a buy on this one, and it has worked very well. Every subsequent breakout has been a buy. Breakout after arrest there, another breakout there after 1 month of couple months of rest, another breakout recently here at about $100, and the stock continues moving high because the monthly RSI is absolutely on fire. Here's another one with an RSI mountain. Another one. Next. And so this is the top 100 stocks. I didn't make up the list. The list comes from the website, as I discussed at the beginning. Here's another one. Even works for ETFs, as you can see here. This ETF is doing well. Once it moved above 69.10 with this breakout here, which is this breakout here, the stock or the ETF has done very well. Here's another one. Another one just beginning to show that RSI mountain. Another one. I mean, absolutely great moves. Here's another one. I mean, take a look at this move. Very powerful. Actually, let me go back to this one. I do believe we were playing this in 2013. I do believe so. Now, if I am not remembering correctly, but I do believe that was a breakout we played in 2013. Why? Because the RSI was above 69.10. In fact, the RSI was so bullish. So if I remember correctly, we did play this in 2013 for what has been a nice move. Right, let's take a look at another one here. Nice RSI mountain, fast RSI mountain. Another nice more this fast RSI mountain. Another one which continues breaking out recently here. Another one here that's breaking out. In fact, I have this on my watch list as of right now because it's a fresh breakout. So I'm watching this for right now. If it can hold above that, then we need to be looking at that as a candidate. Here's another one as we get close to the conclusion of this list. Another one here continues to hold above 69.10. So these are the stocks we should be paying attention to. Another one here. Take a look at this one. Has done well over the last couple of years because the RSI continues consistently going back above 69.10. And I believe the list has now started going back to the beginning. So we've gone back to the beginning of the list. So that's pretty much the end of the video. Again, this is what you should be looking for. This, whenever you want to own a stock, make sure you consider whether it's above 69.10 if you are looking for momentum. Eric Mwathe, good luck, peace, and blessings. But before I go, let me share with you one more thing. Before I go, just hold on a second there. Hold on a second. Let's take a look at something. You want to take a look at... All right, let's take a look at current market situation. Right now, middle of August, and let's take a look at the Dow. I want to show you something here that we should pay attention in light of this video. All right, so you can see that the market is very close on the Dow to trading above 69.10. So let's be careful. Any breakout above this monthly closing high could push the market above 69.10 and the market could continue moving high. So let's respect that. And you can also see that on instances where the market was above 69.10, like here, this general area here in 2013, the market had a nice run. You can see that period corresponds with this period generally where the market was above 69.10. If you take a look at let's take a look at the Nasdaq on the monthly chart. You can see the Nasdaq continues holding above 69.10 ever since here, which was this entry price there, and it continues holding above that. So we have to respect the upside in this market, and that's what I've been saying. Just because if the market is holding above 69.10, you never know how high it can go. Here is the Dow Transports, moved above 69.10 with a breakout there, which was this price, and since then it's been on a tear. So it continues. You can see even right now this is a fresh breakout above that previous monthly closing high of, I believe was of June. So if it breaks out above that, you can see the RSI is holding above 69.10. You have to be careful because the market could continue moving high. Remember, we've seen this in the top performing stocks in the market. So one must take a look at the S&P 500, SPX, and you can see that the S&P 500 moved above 69.10 generally here, which was of about 1400, 1450, somewhere there. Recaptured it immediately here, which was this lows there. It has remained above that for all argument's sake, and you can see that if it can break out above this monthly closing high, the S&P 500 could also jump and move higher. So what I've been saying over the last couple of months is that we have to be very careful, because the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq and the Dow Transports are very strong. And why are they strong? Because they continue holding above 69.10. Remember, this is not my opinion. It seems to be a technical fact that when an instrument or a stock or any trading instrument moves above 69.10, this is precisely when there is an explosion in price action. Again, for now, this is the conclusion. Eric Mwade, hope you enjoyed the video. Good luck, peace, and blessings. Woo! I am out.